The red versus the black. The rivalry began during the early days of the AFL, and from the beginning, no member of the opposing organization could escape the fury.
They had that horse. I remember Madden hated that horse, and every time the Chiefs would score, the horse would run up and down the field, and the Chiefs would be waving the spear and all that. And we got so that I remember coming on the field and Fred Biletnikoff and I throwing ice cubes at him, and I think Fred even kicked him one time.
But the cheap shots were not just reserved for mascots.
If you're behind, it's kind of natural to give an elbow here or throw some dirt there or trip there and all those kind of things to kind of make the other guy look stupid.
A lot of players didn't like each other. I mean, get right down to it.
Buck Buchanan, when he tipped George Bland upside down and threw him down on his head, that rubbed some of us the wrong way.
Freddie Biletnikoff had this running thing with Jim Marcellus, who was their cornerback.
Biletnikoff to the right against Marcellus. Back is LaMonica. Throws for Biletnikoff. Touchdown Raiders! Biletnikoff is having words right now with Marcellus.
When he caught the ball, he spiked it in front of Marcellus, and he pointed his finger at him. And I don't know what he told him, but evidently it wasn't very pretty.
It all started with Hank Stram. You know, he always looked so neat, prim and proper. His tie was always very neat, and his hair was in place. And you could always hear that little squeaky voice, "Hey, you're holding 63, you know, you're holding." And you always look over to him, and you want to, you know, kind of spit at him, too, when you went by him.
With Kansas City, I mean, you could speak to a guy and say hello, and a fight would break out.
Oh, I think the classic one was a fight that involved Lenny Dawson and Ben Davidson.
It was late in the game. The Raiders had used all their timeouts. Things were looking very bleak.
We had a 3-point lead, a third down play, and I called a bootleg.
Here's the bootleg now by Dawson running to the right himself. He's got a first down. He's down to the 35, and he's brought down at the 28-yard line.
What should have been a game-clinching first down was instead wiped away by actions typical of two arch-enemies.
Davidson and Taylor are going at it. There are at least 8 Chiefs. Here come all the Raiders. Holy Toledo, it's a free-for-all.
Lenny very much needed to be touched down, but I figured being a conscientious defensive end, I should touch him down, which is illegal now with my helmet in his back.
Here comes Otis Taylor. He came flying at Ben, and the referees penalized the Kansas City Chiefs. We got the ball back as a result of that.
We drive to near midfield, and with 3 or 4 seconds left to go, Blanda kicks a 48-yard field goal, and we get out of there with a 17-17 tie.
It is good! It's good! It is good!
Their contests were punctuated by more than just malice. During the 60s, the Chiefs and the Raiders were the class of the AFL.
The first 5 years I was with the Chiefs, every time we played them, it was either for the lead in the division or the conference championship.
Such was the case in 1969, when Oakland beat Kansas City 2 times during the regular season.
So we had to go out there to play them for the right to go to Super Bowl IV. They were so confident that they were going to win that the players had their bags packed for New Orleans and had stored them at the stadium because they were going to go right to the airport.
We were up going into the third quarter, and we had Lenny Dawson with a third and about 15.
We're in deep trouble. We're in the end zone. And we're coming out, and we got to get out of the soup. We hid Otis Taylor. We put him in a position between the right guard and the right tackle. Went on a quick count, and Otis went down to the sideline deep and made a one-handed catch, gave us a first down, and enabled us to win the game.
And he catches this ball one hand with 1 foot out. This was a real bad call. And they went in and scored and beat us.
It made it so satisfying because as we're going to our bus to go catch a plane back to Kansas City to get ready to go to New Orleans, here come the Raider players with their suitcases in hand that had to walk by us to get to their cars. And I'll never forget that. That was the most enjoyable thing that I can recall.
The defining legacy of this rivalry is not only the championships, but the rancorous battles that were endured in order to reach those victorious ends.
those moments and those games were special. And now I'll sit and watch the Raider Chief game on TV, and I start reliving all those certain situations. It's almost like I'm looking across at Bobby Bell screaming out something, and all of a sudden I got sweat coming out from underneath my arms down to my waist, and it's like reliving all these moments that you cherish.